Hello YouTube, De-bodgery here. Welcome to EV Components Review. We are looking at the QS165 V2, and let me turn on my scale because we're going to weigh some stuff, and we're going to do the same thing for the V1, which I didn't do before. So we'll do the V1 stuff separate later on. I'm just wanting to focus on the V2 stuff. So anyway, here is the V2 armature, and that shows 2.242 kilograms, and I have written down 2.23 kilograms, so close enough. Set that aside, and here is the stator, and that weighs 4.298 kilograms, and I have 4.28 kilograms. So again, close enough that I don't care. So anyway, the V2 weighs a whole kilogram more than the V1 does, all assembled. Let me set this aside. Now inside here, you can't really see it, but these end caps, these are not aluminum, they're steel, and the magnets do make V's in here. So I've already said that, just saying it again for clarity's sake. Yeah, the V1 is cut, the magnets just straight across underneath the iron, and the V2 does not. So here is my magnet paper, and like the V1, you get the same pattern on here. So, you know, right here is a zone of a magnet, then you have the junction between two V's right there, and here's the zone of a magnet, same thing. So you've seen this already, and I've marked off two of them here, so south and north. And here is my little pole detector, and you know, south, north, you know, they're alternating like they should. And where is my Gauss meter? There it is. So let's see what the magnetic strength is here. Turn it on. Set that to Gauss. And what I have written down is highs of about 3,700 Gauss right at the edges of the V's. So you can see just the corners of the magnets peeking out there. So right about there. And then in the middle, I see about 1,500 Gauss. So let's just start in the middle. And yeah, I'm showing about 1,600, 1,500. Probably going to be a low spot in there. Okay, so that one's not cooperating. It's a little bit higher. And I get out here to the edge more. The numbers are climbing, and they're climbing. Oh, I went too far. Probably went too fast. And yeah, there's like a zone in there. Okay, let's try the next one. Yeah, magnets are not all just magnets. They're, yeah, there we go. So they're emitting like 3,200, 3,300 Gauss. Yeah, there's 3,400, and I have 3,700 written down. So probably somewhere's in here. Yeah, there we go. I saw 36. And go towards the middle. And going 17, 16, 16, 17. Yeah, somewhere's in here there's a 15, because I measured it already. But yeah, and anyway, magnets aren't just magnets. They're, you know, they vary from wherever you check on them. But yeah, about 1,500 Gauss in the middle, and about 3,700 right at the edges of the magnets. And then, of course, they drop off drastically right where two magnets come together. So, yeah, let's look at, let me set this aside. Let's look at the stator now. Yeah, I just want to put this thing someplace where it is not going to clash with other things. So those magnets are fairly powerful. Alright, so on this stator, first thing I want to point out is that the binding here is significantly better than on the V1. I'm probably not going to bind this again. It's probably just fine the way it is. Yeah, I don't see any reason to do this again. There's not like loose strands everywhere. I will add some shellac on here like I did on the V1, but that's of less importance here because there's way fewer loose strands. There's still a few of them, but they're much, much fewer. Anyway, you just add the shellac on there just to make everything nice and solid. This is wired delta. It is not wired Y like the V1 is, and you can see that right here. So this is like the end of a phase joining to the start of another phase right there. I don't know what those are. When I first looked at this thing, I thought it was Y, but then I thought, why the heck is there two of those? Why there's only one? I don't know why there's two here. I've wound motors. I'm kind of familiar with what you should get, and I don't know why you have two junctions here, but yet there's wires going in there and there's wires going in here. So if somebody has some idea what this might be, please feel free to post it in the comments. However, that right there, that's a delta connection. That is not Y. Whereas the V1, you only have one of these, and their starts are all going into it, and then all the ends only come out one. You don't get splits like this. This is delta for sure, and the V1 is Y for sure. Yeah, don't know why there's that difference, but there it is. The temp sensor, I added a JST connector onto it. Don't know why they didn't do that from the factory. To me, that's just odd. Yeah, let's flip this thing over. Definitely like the binding on here. That's a much improved thing than the V2, or the V1 rather. This is also much tighter packed together. No binding on here, I will add it. And why they didn't do it, I don't know. But yeah, I will add it. There are loose strands here, and again, I will put varnish on here to just secure anything else, just to make sure. Because like right here, there's a couple loose strands, but this is a way better wind than the V1 was. The extra loops and stuff aren't here. This is mostly a pretty good wind as is. Could you use this without doing anything else? Yeah, you could. The V1, I would say, yeah, for a while, but it's probably not going to last. The V2, yeah, this is definitely a much better motor build than the V1. All right, so let us pull out the milliometer, start measuring. That's right here. Should already be zeroed. Just double check that real quick, but probably in pretty good shape. I had just had this on a few minutes ago because I've just done all these measurements and wanted to make sure I had good consistent results before I did a video. And yep, that's pretty close. Alright, so like you've seen me do before, the backwards and forward combination, here we are doing this again. And hold that up. So I have written down 9.06, 9.03, that's pretty close. And I have 9.01, that's again pretty close. That's all milliohms. And 9.07, and I have 9.07 written down. Okay, let's do reverse. And I have 9.05, 9.04, close enough. And here I have 9.01, 9.09, 8.99. Yeah, it's pretty close again. And the last one I have 9.05 and, well, 9.04, 9.05. So, yep, I would call this a 9mm stator. Yeah, and the V1 is a 13mm stator. So let me set this aside and grab my meter for measuring in inductance. Yeah, this doesn't show up very well on camera. The display on here is really dim. It never was very good. And let's see what we get there. And there. Now that's zeroed out. And it says 134, and I have 133 written down. Close enough. And it says 129, and I have 132. Oh, 131. There we go. Give it a second to settle out. And I have 131 written down, and that says 130. And go backwards. And I have 131. And come on. I've had to do this to me before, where it doesn't read right. So I adjust the leads, and it says, "Oh yeah, there we go." Well, it's saying 136, and I have 131 written down. Yeah, and I've done this measurement like 3 or 4 times now, so I don't get that measurement. I don't understand it. And this one here is showing 138, and I have 133. 139? What the hell? I don't know why it's reading a little bit higher now. And there to there, I'm showing 134, and I have 131, or what? There we go, 131, and I'm showing 131. Let's go back one. Let's try that again. What in the world is that about? Yeah, it's still reading a little high. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Yeah, neutrino flow, the price of tea in China. Anyway, yeah, I've measured this several times now, and I get pretty consistently 131 to 133 microhenries on all three of the phases, and 9 milliohms in all three of them. This is all very indicative of the exact same wind, wired delta versus wired Y. I don't know if the V1 is a different turn count or not than the V2, but yeah, this is definitely delta, and the V1 is definitely Y. A couple other things. So here is the armature, and here is my micrometer, and it is already zeroed, so that's good. And that shows 99 millimeters across. Let go. There you go. 99. And inside the stator, it's going to be a skosh wider, but not much. I don't even know if I can measure this. Oh, we'll try. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you can just catch that one jaw on there. So, yeah, it looks like I'm on it. So, 99.78 millimeters wide. So, yeah, all you need is a little tiny gap between here and here, just so that they don't rub, and that's enough. So, yeah, basically a 99 millimeter armature. And, of course, this inside diameter from here to here is 165 millimeters, hence the name QS165. So no real surprises there, and that's true for the V1 and the V2. Yeah, you do have a thicker stator in the V2 and a smaller armature in the V2, but the V2 armature weighs more than the V1 by a lot. In fact, so does the stator. You know, because this is all 1 kilogram heavier than the V1. Okay, I think that's probably, no, not quite. One other little detail. I should have brought this up in the fit and finish video. Here is your nut and sprocket, or pulley. Just like the V1. It's the exact same hardware. And again, the key was too short. So, go figure. I pulled the old key out, put that in my box full of keys, found a longer one, and filed it off so that it was going to fill that keyway completely. Yeah, I don't know why they put a keyway that only fills at 75%. Oop. Those magnets are nice and strong, by the way. But yeah, they do. Yeah, the pulley is the exact same tooth count. So here is the V1 pulley, and here's the V2 pulley. As you can see, they're the exact same diameter. Nothing different. Yeah, there you go. Exactly the same. Yeah, no different at all. So it may even be possible that the KVs of these two motors are pretty close to the same, despite this being delta and the V1 being Y. Alright, I think that is everything I want to show about the V2 stuff. Yep. Now I'm going to do some comparison, and I have all that stuff written down for both of them between the V1 and the V2, so we can look at them side by side. And I'll start with the armatures first and do the stators second, I think.